Good evening, fellow entrepreneurs, fellow business owners, side hustlers. My name is Ntokozo Hlatwayo, and welcome once again to an awesome episode of the Business Forecast. That's right, it's the Entrepreneurs Podcast. It's the show that gets you connected to a wide array of successful entrepreneurs and business people who are here for one thing and one thing only, to give us tips to help our businesses to grow. And I have to admit, since the show started, it's been awesome. We've had amazing guests. We've learned so much. And I believe that our businesses have reached new levels of quality. And therefore, we're on our way to succeed. So today, we have another exciting episode. And I know a lot of people have been asking me about this. Some people know about what incubators are. Some people don't know about what incubators are. So today, we're going to be talking about the importance of business incubation. Right? What is business incubation? What is a business incubator? How can it help me? And how can it help my business? So today we're going to be talking about exactly that. And as usual, we're not just going to be talking about it. We're bringing you an expert in the matter, somebody who knows so much about it that they are willing to impart their knowledge to us. And I'm talking, of course, about Miss Beulah Mosupye. Miss Beulah Mosupye is a senior representative of PUM Netherlands. Now, PUM Netherlands is one of the foremost or the top incubation programs in the world. So we brought her in today to tell us more about PUM, but also to just tell us what is incubation and how can it help us. So before I bring her on, I just want to tell you a bit about her. So Ms. Mosupye is a strategist and a development consultant with expertise from various industries, including sports and recreation. She's a founder of a nonprofit called How When Tourism for All Society, focusing on promoting affordable and accessible tourism to grow affinity among locals. So there's so much to say about Ms. Mosupye, and I feel like if I keep on talking, I'm going to mess it up. So we're going to bring her onto the studio so that she can tell us all about it herself. So please help me welcome to the studio, Miss Beulah Mosupye. Ms. Mosupye, it's such an honor to have you with us today. Thank you so much for honoring our invites.
Good evening, Ntokozo. It's a pleasure to join you this evening.
Oh, no, the pleasure is all ours. So I've told the people a bit about you, and I know your bio, there's so much to say about you. So I didn't want to, keep on going and messing it up. I thought maybe it's better if they hear it from you. So yes, before we just get into the interview questions about the incubations and stuff, maybe you can tell us a bit about yourself, a bit about what you do, and how you ended up where you are right now professionally.
Wow. The trouble with being an old lady means that you come with a bag full of sports marketing and communication, broadcasting, and started my own communications agency. Worked in the public service, and I will always say to every good South African, if you are patriotic, do go and serve by working the public service. You will be surprised how your views will shift from how we normally see the public service. But I did my bit for almost a decade in tourism, and that is where my love for social tourism and accessible tourism actually began. And so when I left, I started my own nonprofit company to promote access to tourism. Mostly we tend to see tourism as what happens when people come from other countries to visit us, but actually us as locals are the best tourists the country can have, because in that way you end up with a resilient and sustainable industry. As COVID has taught us now that you cannot always wait for people to come from outside, but it is when you visit and travel in your own country that you end up with a very resilient and sustainable industry. And so most of my work at the moment is my work as a consulting strategist. So I work with various businesses, both in public and private, to develop their business strategies and become to reflect and become better companies. So that is what I do on a daily basis. I do strategy review and development work. And in the development space, I am a PUM Netherlands volunteer. And that is what we will be talking mostly about today, the work that I do in that development space as a country representative of PUM Netherlands.
Wow, thank you so much for that introduction. I always say that it's always better to hear the bio from someone, because one of the reasons why we do what we're doing is because we're trying to create sort of digital mentors. And I feel like when you tell us your story about where you've been and what you've been doing, it sort of creates this environment where we can relate with you, where a lot of people can actually connect with your journey, such that we can be able to hear from you better and actually receive from you better. So already as you're talking, I'm learning more about you than I read about you, whether it's on LinkedIn or somewhere else. So I'm really appreciative that with all the years of experience that you have and your work that you do with PUM, sorry, I was calling it PUM, so I think I was mispronouncing it, is actually quite phenomenal and quite amazing. Now, I've gone in and looked at the program, the PUM program, and it's quite amazing what's being done there. And I feel like there's so many SMEs who can benefit from it. But before we even get there, maybe we can start with the fundamental question when it comes to incubation, which is, what is a business incubator?
The best way I can put it is, firstly, the word incubator. All of us, as we sit in Tokozo, are products of an incubator. We were all incubated 9 months in our mother's wombs. Some of us less, and we still made it. But the environment, when we then put the business aspect to it, is pretty much the same. It's an environment that nurtures businesses' potential, an idea, just like we were once all zygotes. We were ideas and potential that varied, others more viable than some. And business ideas are in the same way. In need of environments where they can be nurtured, provided with all the necessary tools, research, mentorship, coaching, in
Sure.
order for them to become the potential that they are. And when we talk of potential, incubators are the space where we basically nurture innovation and entrepreneurship. It is this innovation and entrepreneurship that leads to sustainable and resilient industries. And at the moment, we have different incubators. There's quite a few that are being sponsored by government. There are some that are hosted by universities. And when incubators actually became quite popular, a lot of them were attached to universities, as you see with the Silicon Valley, where they support a lot of startups. But you also have incubators which are supported by investors. And so depending on who is the person behind, or the organization behind the type of incubator, you will see that there are differences. Your investor-led ones tend to invest in a lot of research because there's a big idea that they are going after. You find them in very high-tech spaces. And when it comes to your local or government agency sponsored one, they're more developmental, looking at the basic services and needs that society needs, but also looking at grooming entrepreneurship. And here in South Africa, incubators are critical in grooming entrepreneurship. We know that the big corporates are no longer creating the amount of jobs that they should be, and it is small businesses that create these jobs. But we do not have the level of entrepreneurship that is significantly contributing and mitigating against the loss of jobs in big corporates. And so we need to foster more entrepreneurship where there's resilience and staying power of our entrepreneurs. And that staying power is achieved through incubators where business ideas are supported to maturity and beyond.
Wow. Wow, that is absolutely incredible. To be honest, that is the best description of incubation that I've ever heard in my life. heard of, I mean, there's an incubator I heard of that was run by, Richard Branson and many other incubators, but I've never heard it being explained like this. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, because I feel like that explanation itself is already probably making people understand why this is important. Because I know from experience and from talking to other SMEs that we know about incubators, but a lot of us don't want to join incubators. A lot of us want to be out there hustling, grinding. We want to be spending all of our time trying to build our business or trying to get funding, that we actually move away from understanding what an incubator is or why it's so important. But with that description, I'm like, why isn't every small business going through an incubator? I mean, if we all had to go through incubators to come into this earth, I feel like every small business has to go through one. Is that something that you would agree on? That, is it that important for a business to go through an incubation program, or can a business make it without it?
Tokozo, in reality, there are very few businesses that just spring up on their own and make it on their own. Some of the big businesses that we see listed on the JSE are actually products of other big business, and so you find that a business would have developed out of intrapreneurship, out of a big business that diversifies and allows a portion of it through by giving a stake to innovative employees to go start an offshoot. So a lot of the businesses that we know today, which seem like they started on their own, they're actually offshoots of something. And offshoots in their nature would mean where they came from, that main business actually incubated them. And so, in my view, especially for young entrepreneurs, there's
Sure.
some brilliant ideas that are out there, but they end up not making it to market on time, or actually just collapsing because of trying to hustle it on your own. You do not have to. Your parents and your grandparents did the struggle. Find a different way that will take your product to market. But also within an incubator, you get to also enjoy peer support. There's a saying that, sharp iron sharpens iron. When you are in a space with like-minded people, you help each other become brilliant. And it is important that when you realize that when you are with like-minded people in an incubator where you can receive the kind of advice and support that helps you get to market quicker, rather endure the space that's an incubator. And I suppose sometimes there is almost as if I go through an incubator means I'm weak, or I don't know, I lose my independence. You don't.
Mm.
You do not necessarily use your independence, and it's important that as young people, you also can look at how you can gather together and start your own incubators. You do not have to go join an incubator like somebody has started a school, you go join it. When you know in a sector that you're operating in that there are other people, whether there are people who can be suppliers to your product, or people that can be useful in pairing your marketing and embarking on co-marketing strategies because your products are related. Clap together and make it happen much quicker. Like I say, in an incubator, you will take your product to market much quicker with more sustainability than you would on your own. I met a young lady the other day. She's got a great potential in terms of beauty product that she's working on, but at the moment she's only producing body butters. And my question was to her was, what happens if a hotel comes and says, we love your beauty butter. However, as a hotel, we'd like to have the whole package. We need a shampoo, a conditioner, a body butter. What you gonna do? And all she could say is that no, they'll have to wait for me until I'm ready with the others. And that's because she's hustling on her own. Now, do you think that hotel is going to wait?
No.
No. But she will go on hustling. But if a hotel who that that would like to get into a supplier contract with her to produce the shampoo as well as the your shower gels, not just the body butter, And she thought, no, no, she will, the hotel will have to wait for her to get to a point where she can develop all those other products. And unfortunately, that's not the way the world works. The hotel will not wait. But if she was in an incubator, she would already have received the kind of coaching that said, having if you're going into the beauty product space, having just a body butter is not sufficient for you to be able to claim a decent chunk of the market. You need to go with a bouquet of beauty products, not just your body butter, but a shampoo, a shower gel. It becomes a bouquet that is sellable to anyone. But to think that the world out there is going to wait whilst you try to make it um, that's not realistic. And that's where being in an incubator becomes valuable to an entrepreneur.
Wow, that is incredible. I really really love that, and I feel like I'm sold personally. I'm gonna be the first one to shamefully say I'm not part of an incubator, and I never have been, even though I know so much about them. And I feel like this is one of the reasons why we have these sort of engagements, so that we can actually hear from somebody who can tell us why it's so important to be part of an incubator. And I thank you for that, because now I'm imagining myself being that lady and potentially missing that opportunity to get that big client, from a hotel, because I'm not part of an incubation system. So thank you so much for that. And I hope other people are sold as well. I just want to say I apologize. We just lost our camera there. That's why now I went back to using my laptop camera. As soon as the camera comes back online, we're just going to go back to it. But it's not about me today. It is, of course, about Ms. Mosupye. So I think we're all still fine with hearing you tell us a bit more. So I think then we can move on to the PUM incubator. Exactly. So what is PUM, and what is the incubation program, or the incubation program that is offered by them?
PUM Senior Experts Netherlands is a Netherlands-based foundation. It was established around 78, 79. So 40 years of experience in working in developing and emerging markets. And so you find them in a number of countries here in Africa, including South Africa. You find them in South America, in India, in the Asian islands. So you find them quite in a number of developing and emerging markets. And what they do is that they provide retired experts in various fields of the economy to advise and coach entrepreneurs in these different countries where they are located. At the moment, they have over 1,700 retired experts in different areas: waste management, water management, tourism and hospitality, in the chemicals manufacturing space, in agriculture, which includes your agro processing, tunnel farming, in business consulting. So various over 40 sectors of the economy are available for support under the PUM program. And in South Africa itself, they are supporting over 60 SMEs. And the reason why they do this is because, part of the development agenda of the government of Netherlands is also supportive of entrepreneurship as the way to create employment. Similar to us, where we notice that corporates are no longer creating jobs at the same rate, and it's actually your small, medium enterprises that are creating jobs. And so theirs is to contribute to that agenda of increasing employment through supporting small and medium enterprises. Now, historically, PUM supported SMEs that were already in business for a minimum of 2 years. So you'd be expected to have been in business for 2 years, at least have been employing about 10 people. And, obviously, you should be an SME in need. If you are turning over 250 million, we do not regard you to be an SME anymore, and you can afford your own consulting services. We cannot be providing those for free. because the minute we do that, it means we also undermine the talent in the country, because as much as PUM provides these services for free, it is mindful that it should not replace the experts in the country, and create an imbalance. We intervene where indeed there's a need, and the expertise required, the entrepreneur cannot afford. And so, as I indicated, we've got already supporting 60 SMEs in South Africa, and we've also supported some incubators. There was one tourism and hospitality one in Mpumalanga that we did recently, and there's quite a few that are in the pipeline. When it comes to incubators, PUM around 2017, 2018. And it's not just PUM, but globally, if you look at the UN reports on youth development, we're currently globally sitting around 40% unemployment of young people. In South Africa, we know we're actually one of the worst with 70%. And that is something that should make us not sleep comfortably at night. It is not a normal situation to have that. As the older generation starts moving into retirement, there isn't opportunities created for young people to now be the ones in the economy running the machine. And so noticing that, in Africa and other developing economies, there are other dynamics, but overall globally, there is a concern at the amount of young people that are being absorbed into economies. And so with that challenge, PUM then considered now focusing some of their energies, their expertise in supporting the setup of incubators, but also supporting those that have already been established and are struggling. And now through the incubator support service, we are now basically offering our support to new entrepreneurs. Previously, you needed to already be in business. Now through the incubator, if you're in an incubator, you have your idea. There's still research to be done, business plans to be drawn up. We are able to assist from that level, but also those that are already in an incubator that needs to run efficiently. Some of your audience might have some negative views about incubators because they might know one or two that has struggled. Being a new area for South Africa, relative new as in, we're talking about the past 10, 15 years, some of the well-known ones that have been there for a long time, like Grace Corp, where the early beginners, you've got your black umbrellas. There's quite a few, but there's a lot that are out there that have not really been that successful, and that might also make people feel that perhaps incubators are not the way to go. I still advocate for them, and when you're in an incubator, do not be a passenger. That would be one of my things. That don't be a passenger. It's your incubator. Make it work. And so, from a PUM perspective, we support those that are just starting up and those that are already in existence. So in the initial stages, for example, we would look at the initial advice that would look at their business plan, the budgeting, the financial model, the planning around it, helping the incubator actually have a focused mission and vision. And it has to be a shared mission and vision with the incubatees. There are incubators who, in their formation, tend to be like Beulah's incubator. It's my incubator, and Dogo's and whoever, you like visitors in it. The best incubators for me, especially when we're talking young people, I would encourage a higher level of ownership of these incubators.
Sure.
Have that shared vision and mission, which you will all contribute to in one form or another. In the second phase, we then look at the rollout. In this instance, remember, PUM's experts are coming from outside, and so they'll be looking at training coaches, supporting coaching and development, developing the coaching tools, and also refining some of the funding models. And in the third phase, it's where within the incubator, we identify the different needs of the incubatees, and each one is then paired up with an expert that will assist them in their individual need and not necessarily the incubator as a whole. So with the PUM support, the nice thing about it is that you have that element of supporting the support that goes to the establishment of the incubator, but also as a participant in the incubator, your needs also get supported by matching you up with the relevant expert.
Wow, that is incredible. Shoot, I just want to say thank you for PUM because the work that you guys are doing is incredible. And I'm hearing something that is so unique, that not only do you support actual incubators, you also support the incubatees within the incubation system. And I feel like that is so special because, as you're saying, there's a lot of incubators that are out there, especially when you look at township areas. There was a time when there was such a buzz around incubators and hubs. So there were some township incubators opening and things along those lines. And then you hear people saying, I was part of that incubation program, but nothing happened. And like you're saying, sometimes maybe there is a problem with the incubator itself when it comes to how it operates. So I love how PUM comes in and helps the incubator itself, and also then helps the incubatees, because that's who needs help at the end of the day. And I love that you touched on the high unemployment rate. I feel like that is such a problem. And as you're saying, we should be having sleepless nights and coming up with new ideas of how to solve that. And I believe that's what you're saying, that, that's the reason why PUM exists, because I feel like at the back of my mind would be, why are they doing this? Are they just being altruistic? Meaning, is it just like a donation out of the goodness of your heart? What does PUM get out of this? But either way, I don't want to get into that. I wanted to get into how can one then, whether an incubator or a small business who's interested in connecting with PUM or receiving PUM support, how do they start, right? Is there an application process? Can somebody fail an application process? Are you looking at a certain kind of people to be part of the program? How does that part of it work?
No, thanks, Dogozo. And as much as you don't want to go into why is PUM doing this, I mean, is it just out of the goodness of their heart? Well, the Dutch have good hearts, but it's not just that. The reality is, and that's why we have the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs. The world is not stable when there is unequal development, when we have high youth unemployment, whether it's in Europe or in Africa, in Asia, in the Americas. It does threaten the stability of the world in the long run. And economies that subscribe to the SDGs contribute in different ways towards those sustainable development goals. One of the impacts of the high unemployment youth that we have in our country, on the continent, is that it is resulting in a huge migration of young people. And that is not good for us. As much as we can talk about Africa's prospects in the future, we are a young continent, but if this young continent cannot keep its young, those projections of growth are actually being sacrificed. We might get to 2050 where we're supposed to have achieved certain goals, development goals, but our young people will not be here. As it is, our intellectual capital is in other parts of the world. Our engineers graduate and they go to Europe, they go to the Americas, they go to Asia. So if we cannot create that environment where we're able to retain and sustain our talent, we're going to be in trouble. And it's important that we are able to keep it. One of the phenomena that already has been spoken about even before COVID was what they call waithood, that the young people, they go through teenagehood and they are stuck in waithood because they can't become adults. They legally become adults, but without financial independence, it's not possible to enter adulthood. If you're not employed and are not financially independent, you cannot get married, you cannot get your own house. There's a lot of things you cannot do, which an adult does. And so you find yourself stuck in what they call waithood. And what PUM is doing is, as one of the signatories to the Sustainable Development Goals, through programs such as the incubators, they're looking at how do they scoop up young people and create an environment where young people can determine their own future, where we do not lose their ideas and their natural intellectual talents. But with that said, how does one get to be part of this offering from PUM? There is the first block where you're already in business, have been in business for 2 years. You are employing about 10 people. It might be less, but it must be as close as people, about five, and with the great potential to employ more people. And of course, PUM as well, from a sustainable development perspective, there is bias towards Black women. And so we are looking to see how we support more and more Black women in business. But overall, we're not saying we're only supporting Black women. There is that bias that we want to encourage more Black women to also enter into entrepreneurship. So those are businesses that are established. And they can then apply. You go online to PUM, www.pum.nl, and you'll see there, there are various buttons, and there's one that says Get Advice. If you go to that button, it will, give you the different areas of support that we provide, and then you will then create a profile, put in your business details, and when you indicate that you're from South Africa, it will give you names of 6 people. We are 6 representatives across South Africa, and my name will be one of them. So you will then select my name, and your details will then come through to my email as a lead, and I will get in touch with you and discuss further what is it that you're looking for. I also like to pay the business a visit and have a physical inspection, meet the person, get a sense of the entrepreneur. When we do advisory missions, we want to be dealing with the entrepreneur, with the owner. So you can't be the owner of the business and then when our expert comes, you give them somebody else, a manager. No, we want to deal with you as the owner of the business. There is then the new entrepreneur, where the incubators come in. So we do not provide funding for the incubator, but we provide expertise to put it together, develop your business plan, and the likes. And so what would happen, you would need to be in the form of an incubator, at least have 3 people in the management. And in terms of participants, there must be 10 of you. You could be an established already incubator, and you already need someone, but even there, if you're established, you must minimum have 10 people in your incubator and have 3 people in the management. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because I'm almost certain the minute I say, no, we don't provide money, it's like, so what's the point? Sometimes I wish I could shave off 20 years. There are so many programs, so many incentives out there. Now, one of the things, and here, please, I'm giving you a tip. We have under small business, the cooperatives incentive. Again, it's a structure that many people detest, because even if you just Google cooperatives, when it comes to South Africa, you will read about the failure of cooperatives. Yes, they do. They do fail because in the manner that they're structured and who it's targeted at, totally incorrect. You should look at the requirements of a cooperative and look at generally who do we target. We set people up to fail. But your young South Africans, your audience is young people, right?
Yes.
Your young South Africans, look at what the cooperatives incentive requires. You can get 10 of your friends' entrepreneurship. your hustlers, 10 of your hustlers who are in similar industry, and form a cooperative. And you'll be able basically to get that money, which allows you to create your own incubator. And you don't even
Wow.
know how to start it. All you need to do is agree amongst yourselves to start that cooperative. And you then, having registered your cooperative, you go to PUM and you say, Beulah, we would like you to organize somebody to help us establish this into an incubator, and we can do it.
Phew.
Everything
Wow,
is
that
there.
is incredible. That's so exciting.
That's why I'm like, if only I could shave off 20 years, because there are so
Phew.
many things. I think sometimes when you're wired to see problems, it becomes impossible to see the solutions.
Mm.
And cooperatives are not for old rural ladies. Cooperatives are for young South Africans with ideas to come together, work together, and help each other become brilliant and create brilliant companies. That's what they're there for. Use that platform and establish incubators out of them.
Wow. Thank you so much for that, Elsie. I think that is incredible. Not just the part about, the cooperatives, but also just the whole application process, just to know as a small business or maybe 10 small businesses will come together that they can get this sort of support. It's special. Of course, we have this group, this huge group on Facebook, over 318,000 people, but we still struggle, and it's one of the reasons why we started this podcast, to say, how can we gain access to opportunities, or more importantly, to valuable information that can then lead to opportunities. And I thank you so much, because I feel like that's exactly what you're doing today. You're opening up our eyes, helping us save that 20 years, so that, or rather, because we have this knowledge now. And I'm really thankful for the PUM program and what you're doing. And I feel like now, out of our group, I don't know how many incubators can come out of us, or how many cooperatives can come out of us. Even if we don't all end up, being accepted by PUM, I'm assuming that you have some sort of, a limit in terms of the number of people you can help, or am I wrong?
Well, so far, like I said, there's 1,700 experts under PUM. They're retired and they are readily available. But I suspect if we send out 10,000 applications, they will not be able to cope.
Yeah.
But we don't have a limit. At the moment, we have not exhausted their services. And
Oh,
out of
wow.
318,000, I think even you as the presenter of the show, you should look at what kind of target would you like to have, even if you say 5% of this 318, how far that 5% can go and experiment. What do you have to lose? If 10% of your audience goes and investigates coming together and forming these cooperatives, which we can support to establish themselves into incubators, what do you have to lose?
Hmm. No, most definitely. I think that's a brilliant idea, and I'm going to do exactly that, because this program is here to help us out. We're at a point right now where we should be receiving all the help that we can get, but this is not just help, this is actually good quality help. So much, or rather, so often, as small business owners, we think, I just need funding, and I've really learned the hard way over the past few years that it's not just funding that we need. We need access to, growth, access to, systems that can help us increase our quality and things along those lines. And that's what an incubator can do. And that's what I believe the PUM system is here to help us with. So I just want to say thank you so much. I know I want to hear more, but we're almost out of time. But I just want to say thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for the PUM program. I can assure you that you're going to be hearing more from us. And, I'm going to try and tell as many people as possible, not just in the group, but also other people that I engage with, in my circles, in my networks, about this awesome program. And I feel like, the more of us come, maybe you guys might even create new programs for us, because sometimes it might be dependent on how willing the people on the other side are. So I think just in closing, we want to know from you, what is your vision of the future of small businesses in South Africa? And what I mean by that, what do you think needs to be done so that we can get to the point where we need to get to, where we actually now starting to succeed?
How much time do you have? My vision for business in this country is that firstly, I want to see more young people not just be experimenting with the ideas of being an entrepreneur, but actually seeing their ideas become real products that are on shelves everywhere and globally. Um, I always say, the world has been waiting for Africa, and not in an undermining way beyond the bees. We have so much to offer. And it's time that we start to see that level of entrepreneurship that is contributing to innovation, not just locally, but across the continent and globally. I see young South Africans doing that. Like I say, I want to see entrepreneurship that ends up with products in my cupboard. I want to see
Hmm.
products in my car. I want to see products that I live by everywhere that bear the mark of South African entrepreneurship.
Phew. Wow. I feel like saying preach because this is really touching me so much. As you're saying this, it's really touching because I feel like anyone who's a real entrepreneur in South Africa or has a passion for entrepreneurs would be touched by the words you just said, because that is the dream that we have, to create products that are going to be acknowledged not just in the country but worldwide. You know, our talents are acknowledged worldwide, our businesses are acknowledged worldwide, and that's where we need to get to. And if PUM is aligned with that, or you as part of PUM are aligned with that, I feel like you're still going to be so instrumental in what's going to happen in the SME ecosystem in our nation. And I want to say thank you. I want to keep on, encouraging you to do what you're doing. Um, I wish we could give you more accolades. Maybe there can be a way we can give you more accolades over time. But from us today, we just want to say thank you. We appreciate you and what you're doing with your own business as well as with the PUM program. And if it's not too much to ask, I feel like it would be great to have you on the show soon again, just to talk about more. I feel like there's so much more that you can say, so much more value you can add to us. And if you'd honor that invite, that would be absolutely awesome. But I don't want you to leave before you just tell the people where they can reach you, whether personally or maybe through your business. Maybe somebody's in the tourism sector. So where can people reach you, or how can people reach you?
Okay. Firstly, and I saw you did put it up for PUM info, it's pum.nl. Where if you would like to contact me, my number is +2767 207 8083. I prefer WhatsApp. I will then, we can text each other back. Calls sometimes are very difficult for me to pick up because I'm in between consulting sessions. But if you drop me a message, or you can email on Beulah, BEULAH, at Hauweng, HAUWENG.co.za.
All right, awesome. I really hope everybody got that, but I'm going to make sure that I put it in the description section of this video so that you can just, click on those links and get that number. If I were you, I would take this opportunity. I mean, how often do you get a direct access to somebody of this caliber? We just want to say thank you, Elsie, once again. We appreciate you and we wish you all the best on your future endeavors.
Thank you, Ntokozo. And I would equally love to wish our young South Africans, the hustlers, the entrepreneurs, and I don't know what else you call them. I would like to wish them all the best in their future endeavors, and never give up, and always move together. A Lone Ranger type of approach is self-sabotaging. Try and move together and cover more ground that way.
Oh, thank you so much. I could listen to you all night. But unfortunately, we have to say goodbye. So, yes, with that, we say bye, Elsie.
Okay, good night.
Oh, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. That was absolutely incredible. Did you hear that? We could literally come together and form a cooperative and go to PUM or PUM rather and ask them for support, and they're going to help us build our own incubator. And from there, we've got access to all these experts from around the world. This is incredible. Why not? Why sit down and complain about not having funding, complain about government not giving you funding, where we can come together and do something special and start these incubators, get some financial support from them, get the other support from them, and just do amazing things. I'm so pumped, as you can see, I'm so encouraged. I didn't know about this program, but now that I do, I feel like we need to take advantage of them, right? So whether you are joining us from the Facebook group or you're joining us from YouTube, or maybe you're seeing this video on TikTok, we are doing this. We're coming together, we're forming these cooperatives, we're forming these incubators so that we can take our businesses to the next level. If you want to be a part of it, please make sure that you comment on this video, and please make sure you like the video and you subscribe to the channel so that you can gain access to more and more such great quality content. Before I go tonight, I just want to give a shout out to as you can see, we've got a studio set up today. Ever since we partnered up with them, our show has increased in quality. I am, of course, talking about Vugani M Productions. The other ones who are responsible for our studio, our lighting, our cameras. As you can see, they're detailed there. If you need them, make sure you contact them. It's really top quality work that they do. And just wanted to give them a shout out before we go. So yes, that's all we have for today. I really hope you enjoyed it. Next week, we'll be back with an awesome guest once again. And hopefully, I want to promote your businesses. Send through your businesses, send through your logos, and I'm going to make sure that I promote them on this show, because as we keep growing and increasing, more people are going to be able to see your businesses. But that's all we have for tonight. Until next time, I'm Dogoze Fetwayo. Keep pushing, keep grinding, and I wish you all the best on your business endeavors.